Knuckles the Echidna is a Sonic character who, like many others, has been the subject of potentially questionable writing choices for just over a decade. A lot of fans may remember him for having a somewhat short temper, but also being stoic and serious whenever the situation called for it. And yet, when considering his debut, fans also recollect how Knuckles was shown to be gullible and easily tricked into letting Eggman take the Master Emerald, and this side the Echidna turned out to be the main foundation of the direction for his portrayals during the majority of the Meta era, including Sonic Boom. Knuckles has been depicted as the comedic relief, or someone lacking in intelligence, to the dismay of fans for some time. But if you've watched my videos for a while now, you'll know right away that I'm not here to say which of Knuckles' characterizations is definitively better. Analyzing two of his most important character moments in Sonic Frontiers, we'll take a bird's eye view in considering Knuckles' portrayals over the years as a quest with ups and downs to validate himself. We'll also explore how he may have been struggling with finding his inner strength, pride, and sense of belonging in Sonic's world, and how all this can help us understand our own inner turmoils regarding our desire to belong to different social groups or communities. So sit back, relax, and let's get started.
Is this the place? Yo, Nux!
Sonic, this looks like ruins from back home. What if the people of these islands survived and resettled on Angel Island?
That'd make this pretty important. That's not a good sound.
Whoa! Going to assault the bunker! I can't lose this!
We've got this, buddy. I've got your back.
Thank you, Sonic.
From the get-go, this cutscene reveals quite a lot about Knuckles, for a moment which is really just him stumbling upon ruins of the Cocoa Bunker, a bunch of towers coming to attack, and Sonic gearing up to take care of the threat when you boil down the sequence into its basic components. But the detail that stands out the most to me is how visibly distraught Knuckles becomes, forming an immediate attachment to the ruins because they're so similar to those on Angel Island, and fearing that the towers would destroy every last piece. And of course, accompanied by Knuckles' revelation is that inevitable reference to Sonic 3, where the Echidna has his first encounter with Sonic and Tails. Now, this all might just seem like an excuse for a fun throwback and nothing more, but it's very likely that it also hints at something deeper, maybe even the possibility that Knuckles struggles to find a concrete sense of belonging in the world. And I suspect this forms part of his pride and inner strength. Because of this, it'd be no wonder why he demonstrates that he's a physically strong, stoic, and not so easily shaken warrior. Perhaps his impressive physical abilities are his compensation for that lack of strength from within, being heavily rooted in the need to feel close to his lost people, the Echidnas. I think this would adequately explain Knuckles' immediate desperation to protect the Ancients' ruins, seeing as they may have been another clue tracing back to his ancestors, and thus helping him find out more about them. Of course, SA1 was really the first time we saw Knuckles learning about his lineage, as well as the events that transpired at the Master Emerald altar which left the Mystic Ruins. And since then, we've witnessed Knuckles' growing interest to know more about Angel Island as he continues to explore every nook and cranny of it, most evident in the Divergence animated prologue to Frontiers. He muses to himself that he doesn't need anyone's help, before pondering on his duty of guarding the Master Emerald and whether it was karma that had left him this responsibility. What if these inner thoughts are just masking what's really going on in Knuckles' subconscious? He no longer has a tangible community to which he's directly related via the family bloodline, and from what we can gather from his perhaps less desirable portrayals, such as whenever he's been misled by people like Eggman or whenever he doesn't seem like the sharpest tool in the shed, Knuckles sometimes can't seem to fit in with the norms and expectations of groups from the present day. In other words, any case of Knuckles coming across as dumb or simply comedic relief, like in games such as Lost World, could just be a reflection of the fact that his social skills aren't the best. These would have been instances of him potentially trying too hard to fit in due to the extended periods of time he isolates himself on Angel Island, carrying out his duty or trying to learn about his ancestry. With Knuckles feeling torn between fitting into the world of the present day and that of his past, he's inadvertently created this inner tension within himself, resulting in him being unable to find a concrete sense of belonging within a community anywhere. Not only could this explain Knuckles' limitless devotion towards his duty as guardian in order to keep his ancestors' legacy alive, it could also explain his devotion to his role of commander for the Resistance during Sonic Forces, and even for the Coco in Frontiers. Being a leader would make anyone feel like they're part of a greater cause, thus believing that their existence means something and that they make a big difference. I don't think this is any different for Knuckles, and it may make him feel less alone as the last of his kind. We'll see next how Knuckles naturally reaches this point thanks to the understanding Sonic shows him and the support he gives.
Ages ago, my people were wiped out by a cataclysm. I know the Coco faced something similar. It reminds me I'm the last Echidna, that I'm alone.
You may be the last, but you're not alone. You've got us, Knucklehead.
I'll admit, I do envy your lifestyle. Freedom to go where you want, when you want.
So do it. Get out there and live a little.
Maybe I could. But first I need to be back to normal. So hurry up and get me back to normal.
Anything to get you away from me.
He helps those he is at odds with. He is quick to make peace. Perhaps... No. I have run the simulations. They are doomed.
Just like Tails and Amy, Knuckles has now reached the point in his Frontiers character arc where his inner conflict has been more or less resolved, and it leads him to decide to go on his own adventure. I think at first his conversation with Sonic here may seem a bit disconnected, seeing as half of it is about Knuckles' loneliness as the last Echidna, and the second half suddenly talks about Sonic's lifestyle and Knuckles' own adventure. But I think it'll make more sense when we look at this as a whole. We can understand how Sonic, Tails, Amy, and other characters like the Chaotix are essentially Knuckles' founded family, and this is exactly what Sonic meant when saying to him that while he's the last living Echidna, he still has a family in the present, a family who was stuck by him through thick and thin. And of course, all the proof for this we would ever need would be any time Knuckles has been involved in adventures with the other characters. This is their proof that he belongs with them. But it seems to take more than that for Knuckles to convince himself that he deserves his place in this ever-growing founded family, evident from his confession that he envies Sonic's lifestyle. We need to remember that Sonic is someone who's very comfortable in his own skin. He probably meets several new people on a daily basis, but he's very quickly able to help these acquaintances through their own struggles, despite not having a specific role or place in the communities or groups these individuals belong to. He even more times than not makes friends with them by the end. By unapologetically being himself, Sonic has indirectly found a concrete sense of belonging in his world, a purpose he feels happy with, a purpose that gives his life bigger meaning and connects him to everyone no matter the groups they identify with. And I believe this is at the heart of what Sonic is really trying to tell Knuckles when suggesting he needs to go out, see the rest of the world and meet new people. The hope is that Knuckles can see for himself that he can find belonging anywhere with anyone by simply putting himself out there and sharing his perspectives on different things. Although, I can understand it's probably not going to be as easy as that, especially with the possibility of Knuckles being eager to please, consequently trying too hard, and saying things or behaving in ways he wishes he could take back. Again, these moments wouldn't be labelled as ones where Knuckles is actively trying to make a fool out of himself or lacking in intelligence. It's really just part of the natural struggle to adjust to new social and situational contexts and finding a place in them. I don't know about you, but have you ever found yourself in these kinds of situations, either ending up saying something really dumb, coming across as unapproachable and awkward, or getting a few chuckles out of people because you didn't follow their conventions? I know all of these things have happened to me on more than one occasion, especially due to my introverted nature. This sort of thing can often be difficult to navigate, so it can be helpful to start with what you're familiar with. After all, you need to know where you came from to know who you are. In Knuckles' case, that would be immersing himself in the comfort of his heritage, knowing where he fits in his ancestors' legacy, learning all the ins and outs of Angel Island, and passing on this knowledge to others. Perhaps this is why Knuckles implies in Frontier's ending that he'll spend a good chunk of time at home before going on his travels, aside from the fact he has to check on the Master Emerald. Even though this may not even make up any part of his solo adventure when finding new places he finds belonging in, it'll nonetheless be a huge step forward for him in getting started. From his character growth in Frontiers, it's clear to me that by the end, Knuckles is beginning to feel more at home with Sonic and the others, while also feeling more in tune with his ancestry. I think deep down he starts to realize that his understanding of the importance of guarding the Master Emerald is one of the most powerful connections he has to the long-lost echidnas, and that his devotion to this responsibility over the course of his lifetime will maintain this connection, as well as leave a good impact on the echidna legacy. Additionally, Knuckles can also appreciate the fact that the other Sonic characters, minus Cream and Vanilla, also don't have any living relatives from their bloodlines, at least none that we know of. So that already makes him feel a greater sense of camaraderie and companionship with everyone. I didn't think much of it before, but exploring this nuanced side to Knuckles has helped me come to terms with how I'm progressing in finding a concrete sense of belonging within different aspects of my cultural identity. As someone who talks and behaves inherently more British than anything else, I've experienced moments at family gatherings and reunions where I feel like I stick out of the crowd like a sore thumb. I'm not fluent in my family's mother tongue at all, and whenever I go to see relatives, I tense up on the spot even when having a conversation with them in English. I just feel like I'm obligated to speak the language that they all do in order to uphold social norms and conventions, and thus feel like I completely belong. It's not unheard of in my family to speak English. In fact, it's a second language for most of them. But even then, using my British accent in an American English setting never sat well with me. So I would try to conform to an American accent, yet at the same time feel like a fool that wasn't doing it right. I sometimes also have similar issues of feeling like I don't belong whenever I'm with my British friends, due to us having very different ethnic backgrounds. In the end, I sometimes get torn between these two sides of the same coin that is my cultural identity, and would occasionally convince myself I can't neatly fit in anywhere. But as the character with his own struggle to belong in different communities, namely the echidnas of the past and the Sonic characters of the present, Knuckles has taught me that it's okay if I don't neatly fit in. The fact that two cultural groups are part of my life in the first place is one of the things that makes me a unique individual. The value we can all bring to different social groups we're part of comes from our radically different perspectives and wisdom gained from our experiences. You shouldn't be afraid to behave like yourself if it feels authentic and natural to you, and you shouldn't try so hard to be someone you're not just to try and fit in. It's reassuring to remind ourselves that Knuckles is going through something similar with his own solo adventure, and for that reason I can confidently say he's another character who's going on my list of favourites. He's yet a third who demonstrates with his perhaps less desirable portrayals and otherwise the hidden beauty behind our internal battles and imperfections. If there's anything I want you to hear as the takeaway message of this video, it's this. You can be that bridge connecting communities together because you have a unique value and talent that no one else has. Being true to yourself and only yourself. That's going to be it for today, so thank you so much for watching. Once again, I can't thank you guys enough for all the support on my last video. That's been my best performing one to date. It's been so cathartic to pour my heart out talking about Tails and my struggles with self-esteem, which I now know is something a lot of us share. I think today's video is going to be the last character analysis where I use moments from Frontiers as the springboard to build discussions off of. I'll still be using a similar structure and format next time, but hopefully I'll be able to keep things fresh for everyone. In the meantime, if you enjoyed today's video, consider leaving a like, comment and subscribe for more in-depth content like this in the future. You can expect the next upload in a fortnight's time. Anyways, thanks again. I hope you have a good rest of your day or night. Take care, everyone.